Hi, welcome to Aphasia Moments, a video podcast where we explore life with communication challenges. I'm your host, Cheryl Tondro. I'm here to share my personal journey. I hope that what I say inspires you, gives you helpful resources, and helps you to feel less alone. Because I have aphasia, apraxia of speech, and dysarthria, my speech is sometimes hard to understand. I encouraged you to use the closed captioning feature located right below the video, CC. So let's dive into today's topic. This July marks the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, commonly known as ADA. It was signed into law on July 26, 1990, and it was a groundbreaking civil rights law designed to make sure that people with the disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everybody else. It covers most every part of public life, from buildings and just transportation to jobs and communication. So July seems like the perfect time for us to raise awareness of disability issues, especially those that people with hidden or invisible disabilities experience. While the ADA has made huge difference, the fight is not over, especially for those with hidden disabilities like communication disorders like we have. Many barriers still exist. It covers, before the ADA, discrimination against people with disabilities was common and legal. People could be denied jobs, access to public buildings, or basic services simply because they had a disability. The law or act was made possible because of years of effort from disability activists. Most of the positive changes were made for people who experience physical disabilities, it seems. And these changes did not have to be requested for the most part. The law made businesses build buildings with handicap accessible ways to get in and out, for example. But for most of the accommodations needed by people with hidden disabilities, it seems, they're not automatically given and need to be determined and requested. And this is extremely difficult when you can't speak, can't read or write well, or have trouble understanding. So what does the ADA cover? The ADA has four major titles, sections called titles. And each is focused on a different area of life. Title 1 is employment. Title 2 is state and local government. Title 3 is public accommodations. And Title 4 is telecommunication. So what about communication disability specifically? The ADA promised something important: effective communication. And this means, of course, people with communication disorders have the right to understand, and to be understood, just like everybody else. This might mean using speech-to-text tools or communication devices, having written or visual information when speech is difficult, access to trained staff who knows how to support people with speech and language dis, 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 no, differences, remote captioning or interpreters for appointments or interviews. In theory, all these things are protected by the ADA, but in practice, it's not always that simple, especially when the disability isn't visible. Let's talk about some examples of hidden disabilities. They can be speech and language disorders, neurological conditions, cognitive or learning disabilities, chronic pain or fatigue, mental health challenges. Because these things are not visible, they're often overlooked or misunderstood. That's why raising awareness is so important, not just this month, but all year long. Let's talk about some positives. There are some great steps being made, obviously, in the last 35 years. In the last 6 years, then I have had the communication challenges. I have looked around for things that would make my life easier, of course. So one of the things I heard about, and I know a friend has used it with traveling, is the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program. This is a program that is found in airports, some airports and some venues. I believe it started in Europe and came to the United States just for certain states. This lets a person wear a sunflower symbol and this to discreetly signal a non-visible disability. There are disability priority lines. They exist in some public places. I know about Disney has a priority line in some buildings, some federal buildings do. I know about quiet hours at stores like Walmart. I don't know if any other stores have this, but they help with sensory needs. TTY and relay services remain a key part of communication access, and when I'm really interested in how they can help us with speech and language disorders. And some states now offer disability indicators on driver's licenses. And some places offer quiet rooms. You might have heard about other programs, and I would love to hear about them in the comment section to share these important resources that we can use. These are all examples of how the ADA's goals are being put into practice. But access to these tools is not always easy or well known or consistent. Even 35 years later, we still need some things. We still have need. I believe we need more training for staff and service providers on communication and cognitive disabilities and all hidden disabilities. easier access and funding for AAC tools and applications, systems that don't require extra explaining just to get basic accommodation. I like the fact that the Sunflower program just has a visual, and people staff who are at those airports know if they see somebody with a sunflower, they only have to ask, "Can I help you?" That's it. You don't have to have a big conversation, but it's an opportunity to share your ID or something else and be able to tell people what you need to be successful. We need tools and support even when we can't speak or write easily. We need to be asked, not assumed, what kind of support we need. I am reminded that there's a phrase, if you met one person with aphasia, you met one person with aphasia. So what works for one person is not necessarily going to work for the other person. It's nice that people are aware of the term aphasia or apraxia or dysarthria, but because it's so individual, the needs are so individual, it's better to ask what we need than to assume that everybody who has aphasia needs this. So the ADA has been a powerful step forward, but we still need awareness, understanding, and action to make it more beneficial for everyone. So let's celebrate how far we come, and can we start to be committed to the work that lies ahead. One of the things is sharing our stories so that others understand what we need and what they can do. Recently, I wrote a blog post, and the link will be in the description if you would like to read the blog post. And during this month of July, I intend to have a separate podcast for each of the titles, the sections of the ADA. So one for employment, one for state and local government, one for businesses, public accommodations, and one for telecommunications. And I'll share how in the past 6 years, my own experiences with communication access, and accommodations I was able to get or not get, and how we can maybe move forward so we can maybe request the things that we need. Once again, thank you so much for watching and listening. I really do appreciate you being here. Please use the comment section to tell us what the ADA has meant for you since you've been on this journey. And I hope that today's conversation reminded you that even with our challenges, life can still be full of meaning, connection, and joy. Sometimes we just need the right support. Until next time, bye.